The full card for Misfits 17 was recently announced. Of course, we know of the main event, KSI vs Anthony Taylor and Slim, prior to this news. I'll get to that contest last, and I'll cover the entire card from top to bottom. If you want the most comprehensive Misfits card breakdowns and in-depth scripted boxing and MMA analysis, please like and subscribe for more content. So the first fight of Misfits 17 is Sami Hamed vs Jesse Clark. Now the latter is a TikToker with a pretty sizable audience, and then Sami is the son of fucking Prince Nassim Hamed. The boxing world is just crazy, man. If you predicted that the son of Prince Naz is going to fight a TikToker for his pro boxing debut, then you are like the human version of the Sports Almanac from Back to the Future 2, because yeah, I find it insane. Not to say I think what Sami Hamed is doing is bad or anything, even the tippy-top elite boxers are going up against the likes of Ngannou, an MMA fighter, and they're having these crossover matchups as well. Would you rather fight these TikTokers, more or less tomato cans, on a platform such as DAZN, in a sold-out arena with 20,000 people with Misfits, compared to fighting a tomato can in some recreational center for about $100? This is a smart move by Sami Hamed and his team around him, and if he can use this to build up his record before going up the ranks and fighting tough journeymen, then I commend him. I know he's fighting a TikToker with probably next to no experience, but the skill between Jesse Clark and the first opponent that real pro boxers face won't be too dissimilar. This is also a great investment for Misfits. They should continue to sprinkle upcoming professional boxers with name value as well as incredible amateur prospects like Amir Anderson onto their shows. It varies up the types of fights you see in the promotion, and it's really nice to see them cultivate the new generation of pro boxers as well. Kimbo Slice Jr., Amir Anderson, Gabe Silver, Hasim Rahman Jr., and now Sami Hamed, a name selected by Misfits for their family connection of course, but I hope that they can have a fruitful career on Misfits as pros. I pick Sami Hamed to beat Jesse in a round or so, and this flashy knockout will get the fans in the arena pumped for more Misfits action. DTG vs Minicon is up next, and I believe DTG will simply outmuscle and finish Minicon in this fight. Minicon is a late replacement for this cruiserweight tournament, and has had pretty bad luck in his influencer boxing career. He's lost most of his fights by decision, and I believe that DTG will get the stoppage due to his power. I really hope that this fight doesn't halt the pace of the show, because with inexperienced fighters in the heavier weight classes, they tend to gas out and clinch excessively. In professional boxing, clinching is a tactic used to make the fight ugly and to gain opportunities to box on the inside. However, with Misfits Boxing, these cruiser and heavyweights with bad cardio rely on it as a breather, and when you're clinching every 5 seconds, it really stinks the place up. I'm not really excited for Minicon vs DTG, it's just an obligatory fight for the ongoing cruiserweight tournaments, but I hope at least there's a finish and there's more than 10 punches thrown around. I'm gonna be fully transparent with everyone. I have no idea who Jake Cornish and Mike Edwards are. Jake Cornish is apparently a former Love Island contestant turned social media influencer turned boxer. Mike Edwards is a reality TV and Instagram star with over 1 million followers on the platform. Holy fucking shit, man. I'm trying to get up to 100,000 subscribers eventually, like and subscribe by the way, but this cunt has over 10 times that. Despite not knowing who he is, I gotta respect the dedication and graft it takes to hit that number. Having said that, Jake Cornish vs Mike Edwards feels like a bit of a filler fight to be honest. I hope both guys come in prepared and are ready to go, but yeah, I have no idea what to expect. They're both making their pro boxing debut under Misfits, so I have absolutely no fight footage to go off of. I wish them both luck. I hope that they make the build-up entertaining and convince the audience watching that they should be back on Misfits. So the fight after Jake vs Mike is between two guys who actually have combat experience. Ben Williams vs Warren Spencer. That's a good sign, even though again, I'm not familiar with these guys and I wish that they put this matchup on Misfits 16, the non-pay-per-view card instead. I'm really not trying to complain too much about Misfits, as they are still finding their feet in the combat sports world, and I respect a lot of what they're trying to do in the space. I honestly love what Mams and KSI are trying to build here with Misfits, people from all walks of entertainment and martial arts coming together and boxing inside the ring. Crossover boxing will indeed be a part of the future of the sport. However, I feel like I do have an obligation to be honest and critical. I mean, that's what's in the title, especially in the case of Misfits 17 because it is a pay-per-view event. You will have to pay real money to watch Misfits 17 along with being a DAZN subscriber, so for me, I need to express my true thoughts on the card. So with that out there, Ben Williams has racked up his fair share of wins in the crossover scene against fairly decent opposition, so I believe he will come away with the victory. Gabriel Silva returns to the Misfits universe against Irish MMA fighter Nahom Weddy, and I'm looking forward to this fight a lot. I really enjoy watching Gabe box. He really looks like his father's son with quality striking ability, and he shares a similar stance and shot selection to Anderson as well. I've said before that Misfits should invest in Gabe Silva as he can actually fight. He's well spoken on the mic and can really legitimize the Misfits brand. Although he's fought influences like OJ Rose and Ben Davis in his last outings on Misfits, the promotion is now feeding him real pros to battle with. This is what Misfits should really be doing for all of their pro fighters, to be honest. While you can kinda sorta justify Sami Hamed fighting an influencer because both are making their debut, and if he wasn't fighting Jesse Clark, he'd still be beating up on random journeymen, ideally all pros on Misfits should be fighting, well, pros. With that in mind, what is there to say on Gabe Silva's opponent, Nahom Weddy? Well, like I said earlier, he's an MMA fighter from Ireland, which makes sense because that's where Misfits 17 will take place anyway. It looks like Weddy has a decent amount of fights under local MMA promotions, and he's won most of them by decision. From what I've gathered, this guy seems to take the Anthony Taylor route of grinding fights out to a decision win. This may pose issues for Gabe Silva, or Gabe is just going to knock him out in a couple of rounds because of the massive differences between the two sports. Who knows? Before I move on to the next fight, I did want to mention that it's a smart play by Misfits adding local fighters to the Ireland card. If Misfits expands to Brazil, Australia, hopefully, fucking Japan even, signing people from all of those places for a one-fight deal to box in their hometown is a great idea. It might make the local combat sports fans in a town that wouldn't usually go to a Misfits show want to buy a ticket. Now the fight coming up is fucking hilarious and I love it. Danny Aarons versus Beavo. Fucking hell, man. This completely makes up for Jake Cornish versus Mike Edwards and Ben Williams versus Warren Spencer. Danny Aarons versus Beavo. This fight right here has the potential to be an absolute classic. Danny Aarons is adored in the UK and he will most likely be the favourite to win. For the UK audience, this is a fantastic influencer fight and I'm sure both guys will bring the excitement and headlines that Misfits are looking for. I have no clue how to predict this one or what the fuck will happen, but I can't wait for it. Danny Aarons versus Beavo is insane, and it's on fucking DAZN pay-per-view. Conor McGregor's cameraman fighting Deen the Great was not the contest I expected when the full card got announced. That's not a joke, by the way. Dave Fogarty is McGregor's photographer, and he'll be going head-to-head against the Misfits lightweight champ. I know that Deen is coming back after some injuries, probably needs a warm-up fight, and that the Misfits lightweight tournament is still ongoing to settle who Deen's proper next opponent is. But really? I guess Dave is Irish, and with the setting of Misfits 17, the fight makes sense in that way. Also, the connection he has to Conor McGregor is a good thing for Misfits, if they want to conduct business with Conor moving forward. Oh, and Deen producing a solid knockout before the main event is probably going to generate some buzz in the arena. Maybe booing from the crowd because Deen is going to render an Irishman unconscious, but still. I'm aware that this guy is 7-4 in amateur MMA. I just don't think that'll be enough to survive Deen's onslaughts. If this is the second to last fight on the card, I can't say I'm too thrilled. It's finally time to talk about the main events, KSI versus Slim and Anthony Taylor. I've already made videos about this fight, so I won't go into too much detail, but for this to just be a warm-up fight for KSI is pretty insane. Tommy Fury is certainly a tougher test than Slim and Anthony Taylor. I mean, he is a professional boxer after all, but the two fighting alongside each other present some unique challenges for KSI. Even though both guys like to fight on the inside, I mean that's basically AT's entire boxing style, they do have distinct characteristics as well. Slim is lanky, awkward, and can keep the fight long if he wants to. He chooses to box up close, and that's where he's gotten his signature knockout victories. But if he wants to beat KSI with AT, he should keep him at bay with the jab. KSI is coming from the weight class above Slim, so if this boxing match becomes a dogfight, I back KSI's power to win more than Slim's. So with that, Slim should stick behind his jab and make it difficult for KSI to close distance with his karate style. Slim should score points that way, and then when AT tags in, he does the complete opposite and smothers KSI with excessive clinching and inside work. That is Anthony Taylor's bread and butter, and it's worked on lesser influencer boxers, so I wonder if that strategy will work with KSI. The complete switch up in game plan and boxing style between the two fighters might stifle KSI and net the tag team a win, who knows. I've said this time and time again, if Slim and AT work on beating KSI together and truly use their different styles and physical attributes to their advantage, then they could eke out a decision. My bet though is that they won't, and if they're just working for themselves and not as a team, KSI will finish them both. Misfits 17 is a fairly decent pay-per-view event, with also some fights that do not belong on a paid card at all. If this is the complete card with no other additions, I have a feeling it will be better than Misfits 007, but won't compare to Misfits 001, 004, and of course the Prime card. There are some names that I'm intrigued about, Gabe Silver, Sami Hamed, Danny Aarons, and Beavo obviously, but the rest of the undercard just seems obligatory. Nothing can top the Prime card in terms of value. They really wanted to push the boat with that event, so any pay-per-views Misfits do after will be unfairly judged based on it. But at the same time, I feel like my points of contention are also valid. Are you excited for Misfits 17, the long-awaited return of KSI fighting two people at the same time? Let me know.